Hey guys, welcome back to American Contractor Show. We are in the office of Dan Young. What's up, man?
Hey, thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
This is really cool, and thank you for letting us hang out with you.
Absolutely.
And get to learn a little bit about Kingdom and what you guys have built up here in northern Indiana.
Yeah.
In Marion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Home base.
Yeah, it's cool to be in the Hoosier State, not far for us.
Yeah.
We get to drive an hour and a half and be here instead of driving 5 or 6 hours or having to hop on a plane.
Yeah.
So thank you for being close by and having an awesome time.
Do what we can.
But no, dude, I've had a great time just kind of checking out your facility. It's really awesome the way you guys have laid this out. And then just, we went on a job site today, got to see you guys installing some Duralast. It was pretty impressive to see how your whole operations, your whole team, everybody around here has been so nice to us. And, that's the part that when you get to a company, you see that they have really good people within the organization. That's usually a reflection that they have really good leadership.
Yeah.
And so kudos to you on what you've built. And thank you for letting us do this.
Yeah. I really appreciate you coming.
So give us the backstory. Tell us a little bit about the business and, what you've done here and, what Kingdom's all about.
Sure. Yeah. So I went to Purdue for construction tech.
Not going to hold it against you.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Purdue. I was actually about halfway through school and kind of got bored. And I ended up moving here through some kind of crazy sequence of events. 2010 storm hit in the fall in Marion. I owned a business. We were doing property management. So we did light construction. And the second year after the storm, so like there was national storm chasers because it's a fall storm. So everybody and their mom shows up.
Right.
And I met my current business partner a year later in the fall. They were wrapping up the storm. His dad introduced us. I went to church with his dad. And he just said, hey, you and my son have a lot in common. I think you guys should meet. So we met. I spent about 3 or 4 weeks helping him wind down that storm. And I just did some sales for him, just some referrals from friends and family. And I made like 30 or 40 grand in a month. Never made that kind of money before. But I also kept on hearing stories from like friends and family about so-and-so came, like they did a pretty poor job. They won't answer their phones are shut off, whatever. And that really resonated with me. And so Ryan was about to go back on the road. He'd been on the road for about 12 years, just an authentic national storm chaser. And I just called him and said, hey, like, I really like this. I enjoy it. Like, I want to start a local brick and mortar. Would you like to like hang out and do it with me? 'Cause I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I was dumb enough to be willing to try. So he's like, yeah, I'm kind of tired of traveling. So let's give it a shot. His vision was really, we would do like a couple, $2 or $3 million, pick up some little crumbs here and there, and just kind of low key maintain something. My vision was like, I want to take over the world, right? Because that's just the way I'm written. And so in the beginning, it was really about, I wanted to build something clean to help the community. And then I had a big pool of people from a ministry standpoint we wanted to help. So at that time, I was really heavily involved in an organization called Hope City. And Hope City at that time was like 18 to 25-year-olds. Most of them didn't have family, weren't connected to their family. And we had sex slave victims, war refugees from Africa, like the craziest stories you've ever heard. Many didn't have licenses, IDs, social security cards, like just life was not well put together. And so from a ministry perspective, we really felt like it was a tool to give an opportunity and give a trade to people. And also it's an avenue to pay people really well so they can take care of their family. So it really started there. And then over time, it's just grown. And at this point today, like, it's really more about our team than it is anything. Like our team is very, like, it's really our primary goal. When we focus on our team and those people and treat them well with dignity and respect, give them tools, then they go out and they can take care of our customers well and put them first. So it's really a people-driven organization. And our success has really been whatever community we're in, we get really involved with the community. We give back. We're supporting, the Boys and Girls Club and the high schools and the athletics and whatever, right? Like whatever that community's need is. And it's not just Marion, like we're in Indy, we're in Kokomo, we're on the south side of Indy, like we're all over. But where we put our brick and mortars, we really focus on investing in that community.
That's so cool, and it was evident. Like we were here today, and someone came by to pick up a check. Some of the
Yeah,
community
yeah.
people looking, for one of the organizations that you guys support. So that's so cool to see what you guys have done here locally, and it's really there's very few companies in Indiana that I could tell you that have a presence like you guys have.
Thank you.
And I mean, just you drive around Indy and you see Kingdom. You drive around up here, you see Kingdom. You go on the highways, you see Kingdom. I mean, Kingdom is everywhere. You guys have built a phenomenal brand. But the story is cool that it was it was just this thing that happened.
Yeah.
And I love that about construction in
Yeah.
general and how these companies come to be because they're just so they just happen.
Yeah. They're organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it comes around with good people.
Yep.
With a good it's funny because the people that come in it looking for just, hey, we want to make this into a money thing, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
So but you guys have grown this business. You got I don't know how many people work here now.
About 50. Yeah.
50 all with everybody with subs, everything, or
No, that's just employees, W-2 staff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
10 or 15 crews work with us daily.
That's awesome. And so all in all, you guys are supporting hundreds of people at the end of the
Absolutely.
day with this business. And then you guys have grown this, but tell me some of the iterations on that. Like there's gotta be levels to that growth, right?
Yeah, for sure. So really interesting. We've all watched the industry has really transitioned to where corporate money has been injected into our industry. They've recognized the predictability of the trades industry that's very sustainable, and there's healthy margins in it. And so we started getting approached a few years ago pretty aggressively by PE firms.
Why do you think it was you guys though, foundationally? Like what did you build foundationally to set yourself up for that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We interviewed about 25 firms when we decided, like, hey, this is something we're going to consider. And most all of them are looking for the same thing. Like, they're going to find you by, from manufacturers reps and headhunters and going on websites of, manufacturers and vendors and things like that. But they're looking for companies that are branded, that have a strong local presence, that are invested in the community. Oftentimes, they're looking for 4 or 5 years and older. If leadership teams are very important to them because they want to be able to grow and scale. Typically, the best platforms are growth minded.
By platforms, you mean like private equity companies?
Exactly, like
Yeah.
private equity companies coming in and building. Their goal is regional or national presence. There are some strategic buyers that their goal is to come in and cut overhead and just squeeze margin. That's not a good fit for us. We are very growth minded. But I believe what they found was it was a strong brand with a strong local presence, with a good leadership team. We generate consistent inbound branded leads. We're 80% retail, and we're 65-70% residential. And so most of the platforms we've talked to, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for residential retail guys with consistent revenue. They typically want they want an upward trajectory. They want consistent organic growth year over year. If you can hit 20 or 30% every single year, like you're in the upper echelon. It's hard to do that as you're scaling to 20, 30, 50, 100 million. But if you can stay on that kind of a path, you become very attractive to them. They want good, clean businesses that are run well. Like the number one thing we talk about is operators. Like we want a high quality operator. They know their numbers, everything's predictable. And that operator can go out and help grow the platform and the business. And they've got a leadership team around them. So like when you were talking earlier about the team we've built, the vast majority of our team is not from the trades business. Like our COO, she actually came from branding and nonprofit. Our VP of sales came from the window industry. Our controller came from higher education, from a university. Like we're bringing people in, teaching them the industry, and then they're doing it the Kingdom way, right? And so that became attractive to them. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, so you intentionally built Kingdom with the idea that this was going to be something that you wanted to join one of these platforms, one of those private
Actually,
equities.
not at all. Yeah,
Okay.
like we built it strictly for like impact and legacy. So like uh our character that we use is Judah the Lion. Like that's my son. His name's Judah,
That's
right?
cool.
So like we're building it for our children, our leadership, and our employees, like their children to come in and have a second generation. Like it was very legacy minded. What really happened though is like for me in my mind, it's really about like, okay, God, what do you want? Right. It's like I don't grip anything tight. I've really built it. My goal was really to honor God, honor Holy Spirit, take it wherever He wanted to go. And so um, I got an email. It had been in March of this year, and it was from Morgan Stanley. And when you see a name like Morgan Stanley or Bank of America or Chase or J.P. Morgan, something like that, like
You're thinking they got a credit card?
right, you got another credit card for me, right? Um, but we had turned down, like, I've got hundreds of emails that I've just filed away for, like, hey, maybe one day. But we just never responded because we didn't build it to sell, right? And most people build it for legacy or to sell it. And so we got the email. It was like, okay, Donald Trump called. Like, I'm going to answer the phone, right? Whoever, like, these are big names. And so I don't know what they want. Okay. We get on the phone. They start really casting vision, right? So the next process, which is probably really unique, is we have a huge value on buy-in and unity among our leadership team. Like the first thing when you talk to PE firms, like they'll tell you, don't talk to your team. Like let them know that you sell, that you like the day you close, you typically announce it to your company. The first thing that we did was we brought our leadership team together and we did a SWOT analysis. Like as a team, we looked at it and I opened up the conversation with, let's do a SWOT on organic growth, doing it the way we're doing, staying privately held versus like a merge with a national company. And we did a SWOT analysis and they're not equity stakeholders, right? Like this is my leadership team. But as a team, we agreed the best move forward is to identify, a PE fund and a platform that aligns with our value system to join them. And that gives the best opportunity for, growth, stability, and upward mobility for our entire team. So we actually sold PE. The PE fund is Morgan Stanley, but we joined the All-Star platform day one, right? Like they have 401k match, life insurance. They have the best medical care package we've ever had, dental, vision, disability. Like they instantly are offering things that as a local 50 employee, based company, we just can't offer it, right? And like when you get into the leadership team of what they're bringing to the table, we couldn't offer that to them. It hyper drove us 5 or 10 years, right? Like they're helping with accounts receivable, accounts payable, branding, lead generation. And their whole thing is like, go grow the business, do what you do best, just enjoy like sell and build, right? Like don't deal with legal and all the other stuff. So for us, it was the decision, like put our employees in the best opportunity that they can have, right? So if I have an employee that wants to move to Florida, that was their dream, we have sister companies that are owned by the same under the same umbrella. Absolutely, like just put an application in, and if it's a good fit, move down to Florida and join our team in wherever, Fort Lauderdale. Um, it created opportunity and upward mobility for everybody, right? Benefits, pay, all of it. And it gave us the ability to take some chips off the table and do some things that we've always wanted to do. But as business owners, we reinvest 80-90% of our profit back into the business because you're building a legacy, right? And so now we've joined a group of people who are really the best in the business. They are the best operators. They run the cleanest businesses, the highest integrity. For every 10 people I introduce to our ownership team, like they really have a serious conversation with one or two. They're so strict on what fits our model and what caliber of company that they're looking for. Just because you're doing good revenue with a good margin, like it's just not enough, right? But we have a very clean like vision for what 5 and 10 years looks like for us. And so answers like I had zero intent of selling. We've said no to so many people, but this was such a good fit for us specifically. We talked about that earlier. It's for every 10 people we talked to, there might have been one or two we aligned with. So it really was never about the money. It was really about alignment, right? Like money will come, right? But we created opportunity, and that was the most important thing. And we can, in addition, we can support our customers in a totally different ballpark, really, right?
Yeah, because for your employees, I can see like it definitely can give them upward mobility,
Right.
opportunities to do things that otherwise they couldn't do, benefits that are way more beyond,
Robust, yeah.
yeah, that you can offer otherwise. But yeah, your customers, that was my next question. Like, what does that mean for the people you serve here in Indiana?
Super good question. So, like, one of our conversations right now is for us to build our own metal shop, right? Like,
Yeah.
those are one of the first things that we talked about is not only are we what we feel like is one of the best installers in the game, like now when we start manufacturing our own product, so we're becoming more and more vertically integrated where we're controlling as much of the process as possible. It takes an investment, but when you have a company like Morgan Stanley, capital's not the problem. Like they're looking for ways to deploy capital that they're going to get an ROI. And because they're growth minded, they're asking us like, where can we invest money with you to help your customers and scale and grow? And so those types of tools, they take a lot of capital and a lot of infrastructure and a lot of support from very intelligent people. Morgan Stanley and All Star is really good at pulling in highly talented people and then putting the funds in place that's needed to do it the right way, right? They're like, we don't want to manufacture shingles, right? But roll forming really makes a lot of sense, right? Where we're not waiting for 2 or 3 days on the supplier and we can control that process, the grade of product, all those things.
No, that's cool because they're seeing the big picture in that, hey, in order for this business to grow and to better serve their community, which is what they want, because now you basically have just aligned yourself with a lot of leverage and
Right,
a lot of people that really want your business to be head and shoulders above the other
right,
companies in the area. They're going to give you the tools and
100%.
the right deals. That's such a part that I think a lot of people that's a big deal that people don't think about when they're thinking about what this looks like. And I think a lot of people are it's funny these conversations that we have. We've been traveling around the country talking to contractors specifically about this because this is a hot topic issue. And the reality is like a lot of people are nervous about it
Yeah, for sure.
because they think, hey, this is going to completely change what my business is all about, perhaps change the identity of the business, but it doesn't seem like it's done that to you guys.
Yeah, so I
It seems
do
like
agree.
it's magnified your identity.
Yeah, that's the goal. Every strategy, every platform is uniquely independent. They have their own nuances. Ours is very much like, and that was one of like literally the first day, the first question we got from our team when we announced the acquisition was, do we get to keep Kingdom? Like I've got people who are like, my kids wear the Jude of the Lion, and like the brand, brands are alive, right? Good brands are living, breathing entities that people attach to. And so like for our local community, we're a staple, right? People know us and we're just Kingdom. We're not Kingdom Roofing. We're not Kingdom Roofing. Like we're just, hey, Kingdom, right? Um, that was a big deal to me personally. It's like your other child. But their entire goal is what we call business as usual, right? So this is All Star's third acquisition, believe it or not. And on this third one, Pete, the CEO, the chairman of the board, said to me, this third round, we didn't even tell our staff we were acquired. They just got a different paycheck on Friday. The goal is like it looks, feels exactly the same. All we're doing is putting fuel on the fire. Like we're giving you the tools that you need to be the best, right? We call it best in class. So everything we do, the goal is we are the best in our class. Whatever it is we're doing, we're the best. And from the outside, from our customers, so I am still an owner of Kingdom, except for instead of being 100% owner of a local company, I'm a minority partner on a national company. But I have a vested interest not only in our office, but M&M in Chicago and Royalty in Ohio and the other people under our umbrella. Now we have assets and tools that we can pull from. So
Hmm.
Pete, like these guys really specialize in copper, slate, and shake. So their call to me is, hey, if you run into any of these types of jobs, tell them yes, we can handle it. We'll send our crew from Minneapolis, no problem. We'll manufacture the metal. We'll get you the slate. Like the support system that happens, it becomes a brotherhood. and we're mutually vested in each other, right? But with that is everybody has their own individual identity. Everybody has their own hometown that they're in. And our customers don't even know that this has happened. We look exactly the same from the outside of we're going to grow at a quicker rate, right? Because they have the capital and the resources. And on top of that, corporate takes things off of our plate that bog us down.
I love that, and you can tell that your guys is, you're staying true to your identity even through all this, and
100%.
that's the biggest takeaway that I've got from this is that this is not something that I look at as a lost thing. In
Right.
fact, I don't think most private equity want to take someone that
Mm-mm.
wants to exit, right?
Most people they put the highest priority on the operator and the leadership team with the operator. That's the most important to them above and beyond anything else.
Yeah, and so what you guys are building here is going to just completely live on. And I use the word magnify what you guys do, but that's kind of like the rule of money, right?
Right.
Like if someone is a bad person and you give them a ton of money, they become
Worse.
worse. Like
Right.
it just magnifies who they are as a person. Or if they're a good person, you give them a lot of money, they do great things with that money. It's the same exact thing here. Like all that private equity is doing is it's seeking out really good companies that they want to invest in and make them better and magnify who they are as a company. At least that's what good private equity is
Yeah.
doing, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like if they're investing in bad companies, that's probably an indication that they're probably bad private equity
Yeah.
guys.
100%. That's a really good point. I haven't thought about that way. It's
Yeah.
good.
So, but no, I really appreciate it, and you guys are doing a great job. And this conversation is just like a living, breathing thing, and it's something that I don't think our industry ever dreamed that we would be in this position.
I agree.
And it's probably maybe we were short sighted and didn't realize this was coming. I mean, but the fact of the matter that we're having conversations about Morgan Stanley buying roofing companies. Come on, guys! Like this is real.
It's crazy. I mean, I honestly believe COVID is the primary reason that we're having this conversation.
Really
Yeah, because what happened is most private equity
we became essential.
it-
Oh, sorry, I
that's
got it.
exactly it.
I got it. It just clicked while you were saying.
100% it. So they had a boatload of money in like national restaurant franchises. A lot of their money was in national brands that got shut down and they were non-essential, right?
Yeah.
So you mix the predictability of, so you have retail, which is where they focus is they prioritize it because it's predictable,
Right.
right? And then it's essential. Like we're not shutting down. Like we're working year round, whether there is a COVID or something similar, we're still working. The margin is healthy. And then there's a lot of avenues for scaling. You can add products, you can increase geography, you can do acquisition. The other thing is, we talked about it earlier, is like what's my upside? Our industry has not been sophisticated, right?
Mhm.
So when you have predictability and good margin, but it's not sophisticated, the fuel on the fire magnifies, like you were talking about earlier. And so they're looking at the opportunity. The opportunity is really pretty ridiculous. But this isn't that, like, it started in flooring, HVAC and plumbing. It's into lawn care, landscape, and hardscape, and it's moved into roofing. We are super young in this,
100%.
but it's also very aggressive. There's a lot of corporate money that is sprinting because they understand the best companies with the operators that are open are being acquired quickly. And it's very aggressive, right? And they have headhunters all over the country that are being heavily incentivized to try to ignite conversations with people like us. I'm probably today getting 5 emails every single day. And my response is, we've been acquired. Sorry, right? Like, but that is the state of
It's your
the
auto
union.
response. Your
Right.
auto reply.
That's what it should be. But that's the state of the union. Like, so I just got back from the Transform conference with Ryan Groff, good friend of mine. I did a, I don't know, 45-minute conversation on stage, and I would say 80 or 90% of the conversations were about M&A throughout the whole week.
Right? It's
Right.
crazy.
Every dinner, every lunch, every
Everyone
breakout
was-
session. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just with me. Like I'm walking past people and like out of like the corner of my eye, I'm hearing and watching people talk about M&A. It's the hottest topic in the conversation. And you were talking about kind of like some of the misconceptions of M&A. I believe we're very uneducated in general. And these conversations are super healthy because people who've gone through experience get to talk about it and get to tell the rest of the industry like what's the truth. I would say I'm having at least a conversation a day with people that are interested in joining our platform. And it's the same conversation. It's all of the fears of the unknown and all of the horror experiences that we've all heard about from deals that went bad and sideways or things that were promised and not delivered.
Yeah, that's why you gotta do your research.
100%.
Look at what the different, and there's so many different opportunities now, which is cool. Like now the contractor's the one picking kind of what opportunity fits them the best. And
You're absolutely right.
you know, there's some that are looking at certain things, others that are looking at other things. And so, yeah, conversations like this are extremely important. And so I appreciate you being so candid about it.
Absolutely.
And open about this, and just great job building this company up. Like this is a great example to our industry of what is possible and you know what people should aspire to be as a business. Like you're a great person. You've done a great job building this business. And so thank you so much for what you're doing.
Yeah. Just trying to help me and serve the community. That really is our goal. Like, how can we serve the community? As long as we serve the community, like we'll be taken care of at the end, right? So we just want to create opportunity, have impact, and try to help the people around us.
And leave a legacy.
Right. 100%.
Leave a legacy.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Daniel. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, Zach.
Yep. Hey, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Guys, if you want to learn more about acquisitions and M&A and, you know, kind of maybe you're interested in it, you don't know where to start, hey, I've got a link. I'll put it in the show notes here. Fill out the form. I'll be more than happy to connect you with guys like Daniel and others that potentially would fit your business model the best and kind of, you know, at least have a conversation. You never know. Conversations are good to have, and it's good to know what's going on in the industry. So thank you guys for watching today, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.